The Dallas Examiner has been presenting Monday Night Politics, Meet the Candidate, for over 15 years prior to any major election. I want to stress that all candidates are invited through email invitation. These candidates are pulled from the official ballot for the city. The Dallas Examiner does not endorse candidates. We could not do this alone. Our sponsors are nonprofit organizations, too many to name, all Black sororities and fraternities, the NAACP chapters, the Link, and the African American Museum. Our moderator tonight is Mrs. Jane Hope Hamilton.
Right now.
She is a seasoned political strategist, public policy expert, and dedicated civic leader with extensive experience at the local, state, and national level. As a co-founder and board chair of Barbara Jordan Leadership Institute, she is committed to developing and empowering the next generation of leaders through civic engagement, advocacy, and public service. Mrs. Hamilton is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and holds a degree in political science, and communication from Lake Forest College. Please help me welcome her tonight to Monday Night Politics. Lastly, please silence your phones, and video recording is not allowed for this event. On behalf of Molly Belt and the Dallas Examiner, we would like to thank you again for attending Monday Night Politics, Meet the Candidate. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are starting with District 5. May we have Councilman Resendez come up and candidate Elizabeth Mattis. Are you here? Okay, Elizabeth Mattis is not with us tonight, so it's just me and you. Should we just sit down then? I think that's probably more appropriate, right? Yeah. All right, look at that. Okay, so, how's it going? Doing really well, thank you for that. Okay, so you have represented District 5, obviously, for many years, now for multiple years. What do you see as your biggest accomplishment in this role, and how has it benefited residents of District 5?
Intro. Yes, take this one.
Intro.
Do this intro.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the intro, right?
Yes.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for having me today. My name is Jaime Resendez. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. I'm an attorney, and I currently represent District 5 on the Dallas City Council, which encompasses several neighborhoods in Southeast Dallas, including Pleasant Grove, which is where I grew up. But I like to tell people that I'm from the rich part of Pleasant Grove. And for those of y'all that don't know why some people are laughing, it's because there is no rich part of Pleasant Grove. I grew up around gangs, drugs, and violence. Before I graduated from high school, I decided to join the Army in order to keep the college door open. And that's the experience that changed my life. When I tell people the story, I wasn't in Baghdad handing out water to people. I was on hundreds of convoys throughout the city of Baghdad. People were dying on the streets that I was on. So I came back to Dallas with a totally different perspective on life. I enrolled at Eastfield Community College in Mesquite, and I remember sitting in the class thinking, wow, I'm in an air-conditioned classroom taking notes and reading a book. I said, I can do this. That's when I became super focused on my studies. I graduated from Eastfield, transferred to UNT Dallas and Oak Cliff, and ultimately graduated from the University of Texas School of Law. Shortly after coming home from law school, I ran for the school board, and I served in that role for nearly 3 years. But I learned really quickly while serving on the school board that education does not occur in a vacuum. Issues like housing affordability, transportation, public safety, equity, all of these issues impact the student's ability to learn and reach their full potential. These are the issues that we deal with on the City Council, which is why I initially ran in 2019. I've been in this role for 3 terms now, going for my 4th. Since I've been on the council, I've been a strong advocate for equity and opportunity for all. So I'm here running for re-election and respectfully requesting your support. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. We appreciate it. So, obviously, you know, you have been in this position now for multiple years. And as you have served, what would you consider your greatest accomplishment, and how has that accomplishment directly benefited the residents of District 5?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. I can talk about one significant thing that I am super proud of from my time on the school board, and that's the creation of the very first school for talented and gifted kids in Southeast Dallas County. It's named the School for the Talented and Gifted in Pleasant Grove. Most of the kids are from the community, and it's already one of the top schools in the country, in the state of Texas. And so to me, education is the foundation of society. But being on the council, I think the most significant thing that I can point to, because it's a multifaceted thing, public safety. A lot of people, if you're from Dallas, you know the reputation that Southeast Dallas and Pleasant Grove have had over the years. Since I've been on the council, District 5 has been established as the second safest district in terms of overall crime, according to DPD data. So don't argue with me, argue with the data. To me, that's significant because our number one priority is public safety. But I think it's important for people to understand that when it comes to public safety, it's not just a matter of supporting our law enforcement. Obviously, we need to support DPD to make sure that they have the resources that they need to do their job, but the police cannot solve all our problems alone. We need to be investing in our communities. We need to be investing in our people. And I'm super proud of the things that I've done as it relates to public safety, non-law enforcement specific, more access to green space, infrastructure improvements, investments in affordable housing. Thank you.
You said a lot there. Wow. So with that, I think we can continue on that route in this conversation. According to the 2023 City of Dallas Economic Development Fact Sheet that the city puts out, thank you all for doing that, District 5 actually has an unemployment rate of 2.40%, which is lower than the city's average 3.80%. Can you talk to us about why you believe that is the case, as well as what are some things that you have done in this role that help lower that rate?
Yeah, I think it's a multifaceted answer. The reason why there will be less employment in a particular community could be related to a lot of things. One, education. Another, the school to prison pipeline. 75217 is a leader in the state of Texas in terms of sending brown and black males to the penitentiary. And so obviously those are the types of issues that can impact an employment rate somewhere. What I've done to try to address it, I've already mentioned education, the education policy issues. One of the things that I am proud of during my time on the school board is being an advocate for the ACE program, and that's a policy that was put in place where the district identified its highest rated teachers and paid them a stipend to teach at the most troubled schools. And so for the district I represented at the time, Edward Teich Elementary School was on the verge of closing. We implemented that program, and they met state standards, so it avoided closure. Annie Webb Blanton, another school in the district, and these schools have historically been predominantly African American students, and so in terms of education, that's what I've been focusing on. With the city council issues, investing in infrastructure improvements that creates jobs. I've been a huge advocate for workforce development. I was the vice chair of the Workforce Education and Equity Committee. Another thing that I'm super proud of during my time on the city council has been focusing on those types of programs.
Thank you for that. It's really interesting to hear you talk about these issues because many times, as we all know, we often hear when people have different roles that they're sort of jurisdictional around those roles, right? So if you ask a city councilman about education, and many times people are, will say, oh, well, we let the school board handle that. But it's really refreshing to hear that, you're paying attention to all of those things. So thank you for that. One of the hot topics lately has been that Y'all Street is coming to town. And for anyone who doesn't know what Y'all Street is, that is the Texas Stock Exchange. We also got news that the New York office that was in Chicago is also relocating to Dallas. Then we also have separate from that, the $500 million investment that Goldman Sachs is making in this area. And so I just wanted you to talk a little bit about, what do you see your role in making sure that small businesses, local businesses have a part of those economic benefits to the cities?
Absolutely. I think your question just shows the attractiveness to our community, not just North Texas, but obviously the city of Dallas as well, being the largest hub of the entire region. And so more and more people are going to continue coming, and businesses are going to continue coming to our area, which impacts a lot of different things. For example, affordable housing, which is a major thing that's going on, major topic, major issue. And so I'm super happy to be seeing those types of investments. But since I've been on the council, the city has significantly improved its procurement opportunities for African-American companies, as well as just minorities in general, women as well. And so I plan on continuing to support those types of efforts. It's crucial to support our community members and local businesses, because again, that is an economic development issue, and it's an important thing that we need to continue to focus on.
And so on that note, we're seeing a lot of mandates that are coming down from the federal level as well as the state level in terms of what is allowed in terms of minority businesses, right? Like procurement, right? So understanding those constraints that are coming down from the federal to the state to local, what do you think an answer to that is to make sure that businesses of color and businesses that are historically underrepresented, are still having those opportunities? How would you approach that?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to obviously push back against those anti-DEI efforts. Diversity is our strength, and I think that by investing in communities that have been long neglected and long ignored, it's a positive thing for everyone. When people talk about, for example, growing the tax base in the city of Dallas, well, how do you do that? If you invest in Southern Dallas, it's going to lower the tax rate for the folks in North Dallas. And so overall, I think obviously part of our role is to provide some pushback, provide some data, provide information and arguments in favor of these types of policies. And I mean, my campaign slogan is working for equity and opportunity for all. So that's a foundational approach to the way I govern.
Thank you for that. You talked earlier about crime, about public safety. Can we hear a little bit about specifically some of the measures and the steps that you have taken as we address crime throughout the city and in your district?
Yeah, so when I got elected to the city council, District 5 was the epicenter of all this street racing activity. There would be hundreds of cars that would come to our shopping centers on Bruton and Buckner, Lake June and Masters, other sections of Buckner. I've been focusing on that from the beginning. This was even when Chief Hall was here. I requested support. I didn't know what was working and what they were doing, so I went on a ride along with the Dallas Police Department. And we ended up being in a high-speed chase on Buckner because we saw a car shooting a gun in the air, and so DPD gave chase. They ended up stopping them and no one was hurt.
Are you in the car?
I was in the car, yeah. Y'all can Google it, it actually was on the news. And so, I've been hands-on, boots on the ground, trying to make sure that our community is safe. And so that's one aspect of it that's no longer occurring. But again, in terms of investing in our communities and investing in our people, I mentioned access to affordable homes. There's multiple. We recently approved zoning change for the very first transit-oriented development project in Southeast Dallas, and it will be the first significant housing development in District 5 in 20 years. And so there will be an affordable housing component to that. Housing is crucial in terms of public safety. We've also been expanding access to green space. There's at least 2 brand new parks that will be coming online in District 5, because obviously if we don't have places for young folks, for families to gather, then it's not going to impact public safety in a positive way.
Thank you. I believe we're going to take some questions from the audience.
Can we walk up to that microphone? Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, Councilman. Thank you for being here. Parking reform is an ongoing at City Hall. What changes would you recommend when it comes forward to the City Council?
I appreciate the question. Yeah, you know, eliminating parking minimums is something that people advocate for. You know, there's pros and cons when we look at that situation. For me, I don't. It's not that controversial because I think that the obvious answer is that a tailored approach is what's necessary. What's good for one community is not good for another. So community engagement is going to be crucial. You know, and I think that's just a brief and quick response to my thoughts on that. A tailored approach is what's required.
Mr. Bianco, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, good to see you.
Long time no see. Yes, sir, I know you're on the school board, that's why I came here tonight, because children at risk. I'm having trouble with city council, talking about education. I want to talk to you about this personally right now. I'm gonna give you the grades, what they gave to high schools. Molina, D, Skyline, D, South Oak Cliff, D, Hillcrest, D, Lincoln, D, Conrad, D, North Dallas, D, Pinkston, D minus. Let's see, Seagoville, D minus. Jefferson, F, Spruce, F, Kimball, F, Roosevelt, F, Carter, F, and there was 4 C's, Addison, Adams, Madison, and Sunset. So we got 17 D's and F's out of 22 schools, okay? You put $400,000 in Randy Bowman. Remember him at all? I talked about him. $400,000. I'm asking the city council if you can help us find out what the test scores are. Randy Bowman's been there 6 years. We don't know how they're doing. You talk about boarding homes where they stay at. Is that it? My question to you is, sir, I need your help. And I'm not getting any help from the city council with this very important stuff. But 17 schools are failing or getting D's. I just need to tell you that because the city council don't care about it at all. I've been saying this many, many times. You should know that about Randy Bowman. I'm gonna keep on doing it, but I need to have a meeting with you, okay? Appreciate it.
Yeah, I would absolutely be happy to meet with you if you have any concerns. Yeah, I do remember the item that you're referring to, and I just so happen to know Randy Bowman as well. And all I know about Randy Bowman is that he's a great guy. He's from the Grove. He has a great story. He's doing yeoman's work. He's doing yeoman's work in South Oak Cliff voluntarily.
So we don't know
So
if that's
but it's also important.
Now you don't let him
It's
respond
also
to your
important
question.
though for anyone, any entity, any individual that's obtaining funds from the city to be held accountable to the standards that the education folks want to see, that the city folks want to see. So, you know, just because I know a person, that doesn't mean that they're exempt from those types of requirements. So I'd be happy to look into those types of
Okay,
things.
I have a meeting with you too.
Excuse me, we're gonna respect this space. I don't need audience members to speak to other audience members. And we're gonna allow the candidate to answer the question if he wants to answer the question. Please respect the space that has been donated. Thank you so much.
Good evening, my name is Sophia Graham, and I wanted to ask a question. I'm a certified peace officer, and I work a lot of off-duty jobs. I don't work for DPD. So I want to know, what are you going to do to improve the response time for the Dallas Police Department?
Yeah, I think there's, again, multiple things that need to be done. One of them, obviously, we had a recent discussion about recruitment. You know, DPD lacks a certain number of officers, and there's been significant efforts towards trying to acquire as many as possible. But it's not just a city of Dallas issue, it's a national issue. It's a tough job, you know, being an officer. They don't get paid enough. They're putting their lives on the line for each of us every single day. So I know it's tough. What we're doing is continue to support DPD in terms of providing the resources that they need to recruit folks, to pay officers what they deserve, and we'll continue to do that.
Good evening. You had highlighted the fact that you have a low unemployment rate in your district. So I was curious, what is the median income, household income in the city of Dallas, and compare that to the median household income in your district? And if it's lower, what are you gonna do to increase the median income, household income?
Yeah, I don't have those specific numbers in front of me, but it's a really good bet that Southeast Dallas has a lower than average household income. And so in terms of addressing it, I think I've already touched on some of that. Education is key, economic opportunity is key, investment in infrastructure is foundational, and affordable housing I think is super important too. We need to make sure that people are protected from displacement, and everything I've done, I feel like, since I've been an elected official, are geared towards addressing those issues.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? We're ready for our closing.
I'm going to let you take that up.
Promises made, promises kept. Ever since I've been an elected official, I've done what I told the voters I would do. I'm super proud to be the leader in terms of bringing the first Townsend and Gifted School in Southeast Dallas County. Since I've been on the city council, I've been a strong advocate for equity and opportunity for all, whether it was advocating for increased internet access before and during the pandemic, amending the city code to allow non-citizens to serve on boards and commissions, riding my bicycle on every single street in District 5 to better identify infrastructure needs, or ending up in a high-speed chase with the Dallas Police Department while working to address the dangerous street racing situation in our community and establishing District 5 as the second safest district in all of Dallas. My focus has been on improving the quality of life for every resident in our community. I plan on continuing to do that. That's why I'm running for re-election. Now is not the time for inexperienced leadership. I'm here humbly and respectfully requesting y'all's support. Thank you so much.
This is just a reminder that Monday Night Politics is being streamed live. You can find that on the Dallas Examiner page and Facebook. And we will be here every Monday in this month. Thank you. Would the candidates for District 8 please take the stage? Candidates, you will have 2 minutes for your opening statement, 2 minutes to answer any question from the moderator and the audience, and you will have 1 minute for your closing statement. Thank you for coming tonight to Monday Night Politics.
Hello, how's everyone? Wonderful. Let's go from left to right to the mic, and you have a 2-minute intro. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Lynn Brenner, and I'm a lifelong resident of 60 years in District 8 in Holland Hills. As a business owner and an advocate in District 8 and in my hometown, which is Holland Hills, the hometown county seat of District 8. I advocate for families in various aspects. I'm a volunteer with Parkland Healthy Start, where I lobby Parkland to bring a clinic to District 8 as an advocate. So I lobbied Parkland to bring a clinic to District 8 that's located in the Redbird area. During my advocacy in District 8, we have had several issues with environmental injustice, food insecurities, economic development, and so on. And as I advocate for my district and my constituents in District 8, I have a strong voice. I lobby City Hall, I lobby Dallas ISD, and I lobby Dallas County, wherever the issue rises, Sabrina comes to the answer for the constituents of District 8. So as the next candidate for the Dallas City Council District 8, I would like to represent. I'm already doing the work. I'm always in action in District 8. Whether I'm giving away food, computers, housing, helping constituents with housing, and in any aspect, I'm always doing something for the constituents of District 8.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, District 8. My name is Eric Wilson. I'm a candidate for Dallas City Council District 8. I am number 1 on the ballot. Being number 1 on the ballot is a position that I've earned, not just selected or picked. For it started when I was in college as a chapter president of my fraternity, NPHC president. And later, where I graduated from UT Arlington with a bachelor's in finance. Then I was maintained or graduated from Amherst University with a master's in strategic leadership. I was the HOA president for 14 years. I served on the Housing and Finance Corporation Board, Community Development Commission, former City Plan Commissioner, where then I was elected to represent District 8. From there, my peers elected me as Deputy Mayor Pro Tem. At the time, I was the youngest Deputy Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Dallas. I have done the work. I have walked, driven, spoken with residents, all of the 55 miles that District 8 represents. I am ready on day 1. I'm asking for your support to continue the good things and to enhance what we started in District 8. My name is Eric Wilson. I'm number 1 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Black.
Hello, my name is Lori Blair. I am running for Dallas City Council District 8. I've worked with AT&T for 35 years. I'm a retiree after 35 years of AT&T. Working in corporate America, you have an experience and education that tells to none other. AT&T has very stringent guidelines. I always tease everybody and say, if you make 90% of attainment, you fail. So AT&T strives for excellence. Leaving AT&T, I was a writer and editor of a local newspaper. I did that for 7 years. After leaving there, I became a mediator with the civil courts. I am still eligible to mediate. I have my certification in mediation. I got that at El Central College. I left El Central College and mediated the courts. I worked with our current council member for 12 years. Of the 12 years, 6 years, in the last 6 years, I worked as a city planning commissioner for District 8. There isn't any area of the district I haven't been to, I haven't driven through. Even though I was told not to, I still drove through them, because if you want to know what really needs to happen, you need to be there. As a commissioner, I also worked on ZOAD, the Zoning Ordinance and Advisory Committee, where we made policy recommendation to City Council. As I only have 15 seconds left, as your next City Council member for District 8, I have the expertise that none other than me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blair. The kids are standing up. Just stay up there. All right, we're gonna roll on to our first question.
Okay.
So, talk to us about, obviously in all of these districts, right, the District 8, you have challenges and you have opportunities. Will you talk to us about your preparedness for this role. How are you prepared? And speak directly and specifically to your experience, as well as what is your vision for District 8?
That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so the challenges is District 8 is one of the most diverse districts in the whole entire city.
Can we stop the time? I want to be clear on the question. I just made a statement that it has a lot of challenges and opportunities, but the question specifically is, can you talk to us about your experience and what has prepared you to serve on the council, and then finally your vision for District 8? Thank you.
As the Zoning and Planning Commissioner for District 8 for the last 6 years, it is it's the formation of city council. If you work in zoning and planning, you operate much like you do in city council. Through my 6 years, we passed Forward Dallas 2.0, which was land use. We also was able to work behind the scenes, and I worked with staff and the community and the environmental people to pass Floral Farms. It started before I even became a city planning commissioner, but I got it completed. I also have worked with the community and to fight a warehouse, a by-right warehouse next to one of the largest black churches in the community. And leading that charge, I was able to take it out of the council and out of the city and into the courts, where again, I was able to achieve the goal of stopping a warehouse that had every right to be built, but we did not let it get built because it was not right. Just because you can doesn't mean you're right. So what I have already done and what I've been doing for the last 6 years is just an offshoot of what we will be doing and what I would be doing as city council moving forward.
Thank you. Same question. Y'all don't have to listen to them, I'm just kidding. Oh, good. Talk to us about your experience that has prepared you specifically to serve as city councilman for District 8, and then talk to us about your vision for its future.
As I stated before, I was former Deputy Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Dallas. I represented District 8. I have read the 300, 400 pages that it requires to be able to do a city council meeting, the hundreds of pages for the briefings. I have met with individuals at their homes. When I was on council, I used to do Ride with Eric, where I would come to your neighborhood, pick you up, and we would drive your neighborhood. You would show me what was wrong in your neighborhood, and we would work together to fix it. In addition to, I would have sit with Eric, where I would come to your neighborhood one-on-one, just you and I, and we can just talk about whatever you want to talk to. This was before City Hall on the go, so I brought City Hall to the people. My experience, not only on the council, but off the council, I still would interact with citizens within District 8, and they would still think that I was their councilman. They would call me for problems. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call today from a 72-year-old woman in Oak Cliff that called me about an issue that she had, and she wanted me to solve it. I haven't stopped doing the work. My vision for District 8 is vast. We're talking about Cleveland, Raleigh. We're talking about Pleasant Grove. We're talking about Oak Cliff, Redbird area. The number one vision for District 8 for me is to know that all 55 miles of District 8, your voices are being heard, you're being respected, you're being talked to, you're being listened to, and I respond to your needs. If there's a problem, chances are you're gonna see me there, talking to you one-on-one, so I can identify what actually is going on in order to be able to assess it and make sure that I bring to you the resources that you need, that we can work together to resolve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brennan.
Again, as a business owner and an advocate for District 8, I walk several shoes and I do many things. I wear several hats in District 8. When there's a problem in my community, I get the phone call. Sabrina, we have this going on. We have that going on. And we have random shootings. And as a business owner, I have had to dodge bullets myself walking out of my place of business. So I have and will continue to keep myself in action and do what I need to do to improve the quality of life in District 8. Because we just had an issue on February the 13th with public safety, where the public safety police, the police officer came out to a call where a dog had attacked 2 senior citizens. One was 87 years old and the other one was in her 90s. The police officer wrote the information on the complaint as if the dog owner called the police, when in fact, it was the senior citizens that called the police, and nothing has, to this day right now, nothing has gotten done about it. We had to go back to the police station and redo the complaint because the complaint was not handled correct. But I lobby Dallas City Hall on a monthly basis. I lobby Dallas County, and I lobby DISD for all many issues in District 8 that takes place. And as your next city council person, that is the thing I would like to do, is to improve the quality of life in District 8.
Will you please stay up to the mic? Thank you. I figured I'd just let you stay there. You know, I think we all know that Dallas is rapidly growing faster than any of us could have really expected. And we have a lot of new people that are moving here, meaning that obviously housing options and housing development is something that everyone is sort of looking toward to fill a void. Can you talk to us about what recommendations you would have and what would you do specifically to help improve housing options so that the residents who are currently live there, work there, play there, can actually stay there? Can you talk to us about what you can do to improve housing options in District 8?
Okay, well, number one is we can't have developers building an $800,000 home next to a $200,000 home. That increases the tax base for our senior citizens in that area. We don't want to tax out the people that are already there. We need to stabilize that. With the housing prices going up, but the cost of living is not going up. So the cost of living needs to be increased as well. So that is the only way we can stabilize and improve our housing issues, is that we're going to have to make sure that our current property owners are not being taxed out of their homes. That's number one. And the cost of living needs to improve and increase, because the cost of living, the rent and everything is going up, and people, their salaries are not going up. And that would even cause people to be homeless in certain issues, or not being able to afford an apartment.
Thank you so much. Ms. Blair? I'm gonna mix it up. It's gonna be like musical chairs. You guys know what you're doing.
Housing, what would I do to answer the housing challenges in the district? District 8 has most of the city's undeveloped land and the most of the city's land that's ready to be developed. You would need, in order for us to look at the housing situation in our district or even in our city. In District 8, we have one area that is ripe for development that's near the UNTD. UNTD is our economic development corridor, not only for the district, but also for the city. In order to bring in new opportunities, my position would be to bring in housing that's affordable, housing that is sustainable, and with housing that brings in a diverse group of residents. In doing that, you also bring in new opportunities for office space and entertainment, and in order to bring in a different quality of life than what we already see. So what I would do would be what I've been doing as a city planning commission, working with developers in order to bring in the type of development that is needed in order to bring in the quality of services that we need, the quality of housing that we need, yet keep it at a price that is affordable for all, and keep it in a way that will bring in new opportunities, not only for the city, but for the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
2 minutes for a complex issue. Considering the fact that when we talk about bringing housing options to the city of Dallas, we have to consider displacement. Housing choices. My vision for housing choices is to create what I call diverse housing. Meaning that you start from apartment to senior citizen. We create those housing options within our community. I want you to stay within the city of Dallas. I don't want you to leave. If you look at the Forward Dallas plan, the Forward Dallas plan specifically talks about looking at District 3 and 8 as the area that has the most potential for growth. Considering the fact that District 8 has the most developable land, we do not want to commit the sins of North Dallas. That's a slash and burn, put concrete over it, and wonder where our parks and green spaces are. We have to be smart in how we develop, using multi-sources of housing options, mixed-use development, whether we're using mixed income development, whether we're using node development, where we're grouping our homes together to maintain our green spaces. So that's my vision for solving our housing option. Thank you.
Thank you. And while you are up, Mr. Wilson, we'll go to the next question. As we know, District 8 has faced crime issues, slow emergency response times, as well as illegal dumping. How would you approach addressing these issues to improve the District 8 resident quality of life and safety?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I did. When I was in office, Redbird Mall was known as the most dangerous mall in the city of Dallas. Working with the Chief Brown then, we created what is called the ROC, Resource Outsource Center. Within that area, we had 24 officers, mainly job was to patrol the area. And we reduced crime in that area by 12% by using 21st century policing tactics. We helped individuals get driver license, resumes, social security card. That's what you do in terms of being able to reduce crime in the area. Now, the slow response time, that is in an area that has always been near and dear to me, that is our Kleberg-Raleigh area. Far too long they've been neglected in terms of response time. That is the most rural part of Dallas, of District 8. That is where we dealt with chop shops, meth labs, loud music, unruly street racing. But the problem was, the closest station is Southeast. Not enough officers to be able to support the vast rural area that exists. My suggestion is to be able to create another substation in the Kleberg-Raleigh area to reduce the time that it takes for an officer to get there, as well as partnering with our county marshals to be able to help us in those areas that are the unincorporated area of the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Public safety is very, very important in District 8 and throughout the city of Dallas. Well, I have to echo with, Eric Wilson about Kleberg Raleigh. They have no police substation in Kleberg Raleigh at all. And many of their calls go unanswered, and also in Holland Hills, where I'm from. I'm still waiting on an officer to answer from a call that I made in March of 2017 at my place of business. I'm still waiting to this day. So we're gonna have to take action with the new chief by the time we get started. I guess we should have a new chief of police. And the new chief of police, we're gonna have to come to some type of consensus. And I know we're gonna have to improve and hire new officers. But, you know, most of the times when the officers, they go through the training in Dallas, they leave Dallas and go to another area and work. So we're gonna have to come to some type of consensus on when we train officers, they're gonna have to give us at least 3 to 5 years here before they can leave, instead of taking our training somewhere else to another area, you know, but they're using our experience and our expertise. But public safety, if you don't improve public safety, you cannot improve the quality of life anywhere in the city of Dallas.
Thank you. Ms. Blair.
Public safety is, yes, it's a national problem, not just a local problem. My opponents have talked about Kleberg Raleigh. No, Kleberg Raleigh does not have a substation, and the closest substation is Southeast, which is north of them. But what we have done in Kleberg Raleigh, and what has happened in the last 6 years, is that working with the police department and the community, we've gotten more MPOs. So we have more MPOs. When I started, we only had 1. We now have 3. When I began as the city planning commissioner, when you looked at Kleberg Raleigh, and we've talked about loud music and loud noise, I was able to work with code in order to, and DPD, in order to address the illegal events that were going on, and to silence them and stop them and bring them through the right zoning process if you want to have an outdoor venue in the middle of a residential neighborhood. When you talk about non-answered calls or call timelines, how long it takes for the police to come up to a call, it's a national problem. It's not just a District 8 problem. And everywhere you go, we have a shortage of police. And with the residents in District 11 voted that we have to hire more police. You hire more police, you have better service. You have better quality of life. You get them trained. We have a new training facility that's going to be developed in District 8. You get them trained, you make them live where they train, where the district is. You'll have more service, and you'll have a better understanding of what's going on. Thank you.
Now we'll have audience questions. Please come to the front.
Good afternoon. My name is Clara McDade, and I'm from the community of Holland Hills. And I would like to ask this question. What is your plan for danger, street racing, and random shooting?
As I've been out on the campaign trail, I've been doing a survey, and a lot of our residents are experiencing the street racing and what do they call it, the donut or whatever they do in the middle of the street. I I saw that with my own eyes. And I turned it into our NPO. But we have an issue with the time response with residents putting in applications for speed bumps. The response time from the city of Dallas is 0. So there are a lot of things that we can do to eliminate the street racing, but we can't get anything done at City Hall. And on the, you said the random gun shooting? Well, at this time, again, that goes with public safety. I guess with our new police chief coming up, we're gonna have to get together and we're gonna have to, especially where my place of business is where I experience the most random gun shooting as I walk out of my office getting ready to go home. I've had to take cover several times. And I've been at City Hall speaking about it. So since the last time I spoke at City Hall, because they say when Sabrina comes, they know something is going on. And that means Sabrina wants some answers and she wants to get it done. Since I've spoken the last time, the apartments have put in more security. They have more cameras to cut down on the, and I guess rules and regulations that they have given their tenants. And so now the random shooting has stopped for right now.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
First of all, you would have a city councilman that is attentive to your concerns and needs and addressing those issues. That would be first. Next, speaking with the current chief of police for the South Central Police Station and addressing that issue. Oftentimes these street races are announced in advance, social media. They always like to report their crimes before it happens or while it happens. Makes it real easy for you. We have a task force in the city of Dallas that we used earlier to be able to negate that. We'll just reinforce that in the area. In addition to the random gunfire, there is technology that we could use. We would have to budget for it, and we can move that around to be able to identify where the shots are occurring, as well as doing a public output announcement in terms of the community about the dangers of that, and then beef up our patrols. If we have an idea of when those shootings are happening, they normally will happen at a specific time, and we can increase patrols and citizens' awareness to be able to call in so that they can direct the authorities to where they need to go. Thank you.
Ms. Sweat?
I'm gonna start with the random gunshot. In my neighborhood, there was a couple who was trying to build a house, and there was a random gun shooting going right on towards their house. What we were able to do was to identify why it was happening, where it was happening, when it was happening, working with DPD, the community, using the processes that DPD has for notifying them and identifying how they were able to do these random gunshots. We were able to get it solved and stopped. So it's not something you can identify, but you have to look at it from a broad scale to a narrow scale, identify what's going on, and then change the behavior of the community in that area by showing yourself with the police department, police presence, and to get it done. When it comes down to the donuts, the donuts, under our DPD, we had a specialist, and she was able to come out when I was notified that it was happening, or we went to each community neighborhood meetings. We gave them information, how to identify where it was happening, when it was happening. She gave out her telephone number, and the donuts, they become less and less. So you have to utilize the services that DPD has. You have to be communicative. You have to be collaborative. We have been collaborative. I have been collaborative with the communities. We brought out the services that they needed to educate them, tell them how to get things accomplished, and we were able to achieve those goals. Thank you.
For those having the speed racing issue, contact Lieutenant James Stevens. That phone number is 214-670-7470. Thank you.
First, I want to thank everyone on the stage for being here, taking time away from your families to serve the people of Dallas. One of the great issues going on in our community today has to do with DART. DART in 2023, the city of Dallas made up still 52% of the total population of all 13 cities. There are suburban areas that want to cut the funding to DART. The bills that are in the House and the Senate, if it were to pass today, this is what would occur. Number one, your service would be reduced by 31%. Number two, we would lose 5,800 jobs, many of those people of color. Number three, $1 billion in annual output, economic output, would be lost. My question is, do you favor maintaining DART at its current funding, and what will you personally do to help DART?
Thank you. Ms. Blair?
That's an interesting question. I don't recommend the cutting of DART's funding. I believe that DART is funded, and it should be funded, but it also should be allocating services to the areas in which which is paying for their services. Currently in District 8, DART in 2023, there was a reduction of services, which meant that in my district, we don't get the same quality service as they do in other districts or other areas of the city. What I would do would be working with our DART representatives is to sit down and discuss how it come and what it is that we need to do in order to better collaborate, to work together, and to provide adequate and equitable services for all areas, especially within the city, especially within the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
I've said it before, that's the dumbest idea of cutting DART. It does not make sense. One of the things that, one of the reasons it doesn't make sense is that those cities are still bound by the bonds that they've already issued, which will take about 50 years for them to be able to pay off, which even if they moved out of DART, they're still responsible for it. Those cities will in essence bankrupt their towns because they would have to use their entire revenue to be able to pay those bonds off. Secondly, the next thing we'll do, if they want to leave, I'm always of the proponent that if you don't want to be with me, then you don't have to be with me. We will replace you. We will ask surrounding cities, Duncanville, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, other cities, if they want to participate in that, because the population that normally rode DART went to the suburbs. Give them an opportunity to be part of DART. What I would do as city councilman is ensure that we are appointing individuals that are true in their nature of understanding transportation, that have a passion to dartboard, and not appoint individuals just because of political favor. So that we have individuals that are there for our best interest as the city of Dallas, as well as regionally. It takes all of us to be successful, and this to me is a matter of the current dartboard not listening to the surrounding cities and addressing the issues that they have. Thank you.
District 8 has always been a district where the citizens and the residents are transit dependent. I do not agree with the cut for DART on any type of funds because they have already started have already cut services in District 8. I learned that in a community meeting I just had about 2 weeks ago, of citizens complaining about having to walk extra, time trying to get to the Dort bus stop, and she's almost 70 years old, but that's all she does. She rides Dort. And so, number one, the first key is to, again, choose the correct Dort board representative for the district. You can't appoint your friends. You got to appoint someone that is going to be serious and know the needs of the constituents, the residents in the district.
Good evening. My name is David Griffin, and I live at 10219 Sand Springs Avenue, 75227. I built a house at 2752 Meadow House, 75237. And when I built that house, they were turning the dirt on Redbird Lane. It was still black. I came to Dallas, established a family in 1976, lived in that house for 27 years. I now live in Pleasant Grove. I have two interest concerns that have been certainly touched on here, and I just want these three candidates, to the best of their ability, to address it as far as their position and their commitment to dealing with it. Number one, 40 years ago, I heard George Allen talk about residency for policemen. And Ms. Blair, I'm certainly impressed and pleased that you took the initiative tonight to step forward. And I believe you stated that in hiring over 300 new policemen, there should be a residency requirement. I hope I did not mishear you, because I'm supportive of that. And hopefully, the new council, as we move forward with a new police chief, somebody will have the courage to move forward and begin to address that more strongly. The second area of interest to me that I haven't heard, and I'd like to hear, is this particular group of candidates' commitment to ordinance revision, ordinance improvement, ordinance upgrading. We talked about the issues with cars and guns and wheelies and loud noise, but I'm concerned about what we're going to do as a council in regards to addressing ordinances, either creating ordinances or going back and revising ordinances to upgrade, to deal with prosecution, perhaps, of individuals that consistently violate and break the law. Thank you.
Ms. Blair.
Ordinance review. Right now, under zoning and planning, there is currently a rewrite of our zoning and planning, which will be a complete ordinance review. That's happening as we speak today. And Chapter 51A is one of the most intensive ordinances there are. It's a long, arduous process. It's something that needs to happen with the zoning and planning because it hasn't been done since since 1985. So there should be reviews of ordinances, and there should be a timely review of those ordinances in order to update where we stand today and from where we are looking at from yesterday. When you talked about having police live in the city, I wished I had said that, but I did not say that they should. I think there is very much accountability if you live where you work. You take a different approach and a different pride element. When you work and live in the same place, you look at your surroundings differently. And to say that we must live in the city, I think at certain levels of leadership, I think that should be a requirement that you live in the city that you represent. But to say that everyone does, I don't know if that's something that is obtainable, but it's something that you should look at.
That's a great question. I believe that the ordinances should be revised. However, I think that also takes community input, not just changing them and revising them without speaking with your community to find out what your issues are in the community, so that everything will be done according to the area, in the, where people live. As again, I have been doing my surveys throughout this campaign, and some of the ordinances do need to be revised and be relooked at, because we have major issues, parking issues, just in our neighborhoods, where people are blocking the alleys and be gone all day long because they parked at their boss's house to go to work. And we have a lot of parking issues in Highland Hills, for sure. And we talk about that all the time in our homeowners association meetings. But I feel like they should be looked at and revised. And what was the second part?
Residency for law enforcement.
Oh, for law enforcement.
Residency.
Yes. Again, if we train them in Dallas, I think they should be required to stay 3 to 5 years and live in the community where they work.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
As far as ordinances are concerned, Dallas does periodically look at ordinance to update. City Council has the option of working with the city auditor to request a particular ordinance to be looked at for adjustments, especially in development. As technology changes, some of the services or some of the methods are outdated, so it will cause a revision. As far as the residency is concerned, I'm mixed on that, because back in the day, that was great. That was a great idea. We had community policing. We had a better mindset, a better idea of officers. That's not the case now. Having spoken with a lot of officers, they would not agree with that option of having to live next door to someone that sees them as an enemy, regardless of how good they are to them. So in certain cases, I would want to revisit that. That is something that we talked about during the meet and confer, having that option. There was no interest from either side, from the police association or the city, to mandate that. And I think in terms of for the best safety of both parties, I think it's a good idea that not be a requirement.
Mr. Wilson, please have the mic. Thank you so much. Next question.
This question is to piggyback on that last question. Out of the 3 council members, would you be in agreement to give those officers who are willing to move to Dallas a stipend as an incentive to live in the city of Dallas?
There's a state law making that illegal.
Yeah.
State law overrides that.
Now,
Used to do that.
I will say that what they can do, as far as housing is concerned, Good Neighbor program does exist for officers and first responders who want to live in the community. You will receive a benefit in terms of your housing costs, closing costs, or the price of the home, depending on where that area is. So there is an incentive already for individuals who choose to. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown.
Yes, I don't have to echo on that, they do have incentives for officers to live in the area where they're living, such as their rent being maybe reduced or some type of incentive, but I think that's already, has, been in place for quite some time now.
Thank you. Ms. Blair?
We have been incentivizing our first responders in housing choices. When development has happened, they will look at specifically how to develop property in order to attract teachers, first responders, and nurses, and those that are at that particular level. So it's not just the police, it's every entity that needs to come in, that needs affordable housing and to live in the community in which they serve. Thank you.
I guess I have a two-part question, because I am a certified police officer. My name is Sophia Graham, but I think that depends on where the police officer is most comfortable. I grew up in the projects in West Allis. I wouldn't have a problem in moving back to West Allis. But as I was driving through District 8, I was looking for a grocery store on that particular day. So I wanted to know, what are you guys gonna do about the grocery store shortage? I couldn't find one. Yes.
As an advocate for District 8, I've been fighting that issue about a grocery store and food insecurities in District 8 for quite some time. We had a grocery store that was opened in 2015 in Howland Hills, and the city of Dallas gave the developer $3 million to bring their grocery store. And our tax dollars were mishandled doing that development. Then the same developer came back and asked for another $40,000 to build a fence around the building. To this day, the fence is still not there. Then that same developer came back and asked for another $600,000. I, Sabrina Brenner, called the press conference and I stopped that one, because that developer didn't deserve any more money. We just had Tom Thumb to bail out on us. The story is because Joe V's opened up. I don't believe a giant, Tom Thumb, bailed out because of competition. They've been around too long. So it's gonna take a strong leader, a strong representative to get down to the nitty-gritty and bring a grocery store to District 8, a quality grocery store. With a quality grocery store, you can improve the quality of life in District 8.
Mr. Wilson?
Grocery stores are sometimes almost like unicorns. You know they exist, but unfortunately, they don't exist in our area often. In District 8, if you're familiar with the model for a grocery store, typical major grocery stores require that you go to the store at least 3 to 4 times a week. They have a radius in which they look at the number of homes that are within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes out. There's not a grocery store chain that does not realize that people need food. It's by choice that they choose not to be in those areas. And with that idea, I've always said, again, if you don't want to come, then we should grow our own. We should incentivize our local farmers, our local entrepreneurs, help them to build our neighborhood grocery stores. If you don't want to come, that's fine. We'll grow our own. We'll make our own grocery stores. That way we don't need you. Thank you.
Ms. Blair?
Well, I have to say I agree with my opponent, Mr. Wilson, that grocery stores, they do have their own things that they look at in order to make a decision whether they want to bring a grocery store to the community or not. And I also agree with him when it comes down to growing your own. We do have farmland in our city, in our district, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're raising their own chickens, they're raising their own cows, they're growing their own fruits and vegetables. And then there's a development that is in the middle that is bringing, that has several acres. Again, they're growing their own vegetables and they're bringing them into the city, into the area of District 8, and some of them they're just giving away to the residents, some of it they're selling. When it comes down to larger change, I also think that the way we buy groceries after COVID has made a change. I don't go to the grocery store. I order it and they have it delivered. So when you're asking for a brick and mortar, you don't see as many brick and mortars as we did 5 years ago. So what you're looking for is not necessarily something the same way. We don't shop the same way we did before COVID. But we do need a quality grocery store. They only get a 1% markup. So if they're only doing a 1% markup, they are very conscientious of how they build, where they build, and the ability of the residents to bring in enough revenue for them to survive. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Olika Green. My question, so y'all can see me, how y'all doing? I'm behind this podium and I'm real short, so I want to see the people that I'm addressing. Right on, okay. So my question to the candidates, with the social detriments that Highland Hills are affected, I've heard several things. Several of the social detriments are basically lack of infrastructure. And that lack of infrastructure leads to issues of lack of public safety. How will you help with that? Because when we're talking about grocery stores, lack of grocery stores, proper grocery stores, we're talking about bus stops that when we're talking about the grocery stores, why the people can't get to the grocery stores because there's no sidewalks. And there's no buses that come in front of those apartment complexes and the 200 boarding homes that are in the community. So the social detriments have to be looked at because of the lack of infrastructure. How will you candidates move to have better infrastructure by 2030? That's my vision, asking y'all what we all have by that time, 2030.
Mr. Wilson.
Well, first of all, your city councilman can't do it by himself. It will take the entire community's effort to be able to work together to solve the DART issue, address the issue with the state in terms of the boarding homes, and address within our budget, both our budget and bond program, the addition for sidewalks. In addition, when we talk about sidewalks, there are other programs that we can combine with city efforts in the county to be able to create sidewalk options, as well as we look at development. One of the most expensive pieces to be able to just put a sidewalk just in the middle of nowhere without there being some type of revenue generating piece to be able to pay for that. So that would have to be intentionally set aside in our budget for the sidewalk. Again, going back to our issue with DART in terms of our representatives, speaking with them to make sure that they are clear and understanding what our concerns and needs of the community are. And again, starting with the first thing I said, working with the community, forming task force to make sure that we are holding those entities accountable, not only just the city council, but DART, but also other county entities to make sure that we receive the resources that we need. Thank you.
As a city council representative, first of all, I would get with my homeowners association and I would collaborate with the associations. I won't pick and choose which association I work with. I would work with all. Regulating the boarding houses that comes through the state. We do have a need for sidewalks. As of right now, they are putting some in, on Simpson Stewart. As of right now, they're installing some. But we have other issues with infrastructure, such as we have a DART bus stop that's at the corner of College Way and Simpson Stewart. It's a very, very dangerous intersection. And believe it or not, one of our homeowners association presidents got hit by a car there not too long ago. She got hit one time and almost got hit again. And her voice has not been heard. Her voice has not been heard. So as a city council representative, with whatever issues that we have, such with infrastructure, boarding homes, we have to collaborate with the community. Again, with the homeowners association president and the community. And keep a listening ear. And don't close doors. And answer the phone calls when issues do arise, so that we can stay on top of all the issues that arise in the area that we represent.
When it comes to DART did have a meeting with the district and everybody was able to come. What we did identify was every area in the District 8 that had substandard or had some needs that needed to be met when it comes down to coverings, trash cans, seating areas for DART. Those things have already been done. DART is currently looking at it and working on it. So if it was an area that needed some help, DART has that information. When it comes down to boarding homes, in zoning, we have had to look at, we've had zoning requests that come in and says, can I have a boarding home here? That's after it's gone through the state regulations. We have rules that says how many boarding homes you can have concentrated in an area. We honor those rules and we say yes or no. When it comes down to infrastructure, oh, that's a big one. Yes, infrastructure is something that we know about. We know we have a deficit in our area when it comes down to infrastructure. When it comes down to when was specifically was spoken of sidewalks. When we have new development, the new developers are required to build in sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. So with each new development, you're going to get, if you don't have it, you're going to get sidewalk, curbs, and gutters along with your streets. So when it comes down to other infrastructure needs, we have just built in the first line that will go into the economic development corridor for our district. So those things are being answered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is Quincia Morgan. I'm also a candidate, but not for your district. I'm for District 6. And I have a question for y'all when it comes to y'all, the district you're running for. How do y'all plan to keep the bridge between your community and the choices that you make? Outside of what's been normally done, because there's lack in communication that I'm hearing in a lot of situations when it comes to plans being made amongst the community.
You want to know how we can keep up the communication between us as a candidate or as a representative and the community? Mm-hmm. Number one, just as I just said, you have to answer phone calls that comes to your office. If you don't answer the phone call, we might end up in another issue like Shingle Mountain, where hazardous roofing was dumped in community of Floral Farms. And the constituent thought that she had a great rapport with the councilman. But her call wasn't answered for 11 months. That's a no-no. So open door. No calls go unanswered. And to be honest, and that's why I live on integrity, loyalty, and commitment. In order to be a true leader for anyone, as I do in my business, I have to have those standards. If I don't have those standards, I wouldn't have repeated customers after 23 years. So I live that every day. Communication, explaining things. Even if I don't want to explain it, I still have to explain it. You have to have that type of attitude when you want to be in leadership or to run a business. So you have to have an open door, an open mind. And you can't represent just that person over there because they supported me. You have to represent all. You cannot be selective in your transparency. You tell this constituent this, but you don't want to tell the other constituent something, the same thing. You can't do that. You have to lead for all.
Thank you for that. Mr. Wilson.
I'll continue to do what I've always done, made myself available. When I stood up here and gave out my cell phone number and asked individuals to call me, I'll continue the ride-alongs. I'll continue meeting with you where you are. Invite me to your birthday party. I like birthdays. I like cake. I'll meet with you. That is a problem that you don't have to worry. One of the first things I did when I was elected was stop individuals being the middle or the go-to between me and the constituents. People were actually paying individuals to meet with the council person. I stopped that. I gave them my cell phone number, my email address. You don't need that. You can talk to me directly. You can meet at the office. I'm accessible. I will meet you where you are. That's who I am. That's what I've always done. I represent the people. I work for you. I work for you. So wherever you need me to be, I'll be. Whatever day we need to meet, I'll meet. Whatever phone call I need to be on, I will be there. Thank you.
Ms. Black.
I've always been accessible. I've always been reachable. I've been on a cruise and I've answered calls. I got a problem resolved while I'm away. I've been out of the city. I've answered my call. I've gotten code out where code needed to be, no matter where I was. I'm not going to change that policy and that tactic. You can call me right now and say there's a problem, and I'll show you how to get it done. I have been called on Sunday, and my friends have said, "Where are you going?" Somebody called me because there's a problem around the corner and they want me to see it. I leave, I go see it, I come back and finish doing what I'm doing. There's nothing I have to change when it comes down to being accessible. There's nothing I have to do differently. The only thing that would be different as a council member, I'll have help in getting those calls answered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to the audience. Thanks for those who are watching online. We really appreciate your attention and your time during these really crazy and challenging times, but that comes with opportunity. So with that, I want to thank each of you all for being here, for running, for actually being a candidate. Thank yourselves for that, and we all appreciate that. And with that, thank you. I want to make a couple announcements before we have 1 minute closing from each of you all. There is no Monday Night Politics next Monday. It will resume on the 17th, and that will be Districts 3 and 4. Districts 3 and 4 on the 17th, same place, same time. All righty. We will go ahead and start from left and just go to right. So with that, 1 minute closing remarks. Ms. Burnham.
Again, my name is Sabrina Lynn Brenham, and I stand on integrity, loyalty, and commitment. And when we talk about accessibility, I will share this. I was on an island in the Caribbean, and I orchestrated a meeting with our current council member and some historians at a Freedom Town cemetery, all the way in the Caribbean. So I'm all about action, and I've been in action for a long time for the community. I'm a people's person, and no calls will go unanswered. And my name is Sabrina Lynn Brennan. I'll be all the way live in 2025 because I'm number 5 on the ballot.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, District 8. I have always worked for District 8. While you may not have seen me, Sister Olinka Green and I, we were instrumental in starting to clean up for lane plating. I worked behind the scenes to make that happen. I worked behind the scenes for Shingle Mountain. I took the side of the community, fighting the city, fighting the Plan Commission that was resistant in being able to clean that up. I worked with the community in the warehouse that was right next to Friendship West. I provided counseling from a city plan commissioner and a former city councilman on what to do, how to force the city into meeting with you, how to force the city into doing what was right, finding the money that they said that they could not find. I have always worked for you, District 8. Put me in, Coach. Put me in. Just like Deion Sanders says, I'm not hard to find. My name is Eric Wilson. I'm number 1 on the ballot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Blair.
As a mediator, I'm always in the middle, so I'm number 3. So what I'm looking for and what I've already accomplished, I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing for the last 6 years. I've been in the community. I worked with the community in stopping illegal events. In Cleveland Riley. I actually worked outside of the city council because I led the charge with getting the warehouse stopped that was being built by Wright next to Friendship West. I helped with writing the first land use policy that included environmental injustice. I've been doing the work. I don't have to start over. I don't have to start. I'm just going to continue. So when you look at the mediator, you get in the middle, you look at number 3, and you vote for me.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.